Hi, I'm Mike from Daly's Paint. Today I was going to talk about benite. Benite is a pre-sealing wood conditioner and forms an integral part of the wood structure by bonding with the wood grain.
So why would you use benite?
Well, if you were going to stain wood, softwood such as hemlock, fir, alder, sometimes cherry and mahogany even, you want to use a benite before you stain because that way the stain goes on evenly.
Okay.
Which I can show you. You could also use it to refresh old wood furniture that's all dried up. You could put it on concrete to keep the concrete dust down.
What are you gonna show us here today?
I was going to show you how to apply benite on what I have here is a piece of hemlock so that you can stain it and have the stain come out evenly.
Okay.
So first of all, I'm going to sand this piece of hemlock here with 150 grit.
Okay.
The can says 120. I like to use 150 myself.
150 grit sandpaper. Okay. So you go along with the grain of the wood.
Sand with the grain of the wood.
Okay.
Unless you want to have lots of lines on your wood.
Nobody wants that.
Make sure you get dust dot off really well.
Okay.
I'm going to pour a little bit in this mix and measure cup. You can use a foam brush. I like to use the chip brushes.
And a chip brush is just a bristle brush.
Yeah, and it's not an expensive brush. You don't have to buy a fancy purdy just to put benite on it.
Gotcha.
So, put it on very liberally.
So you're sort of, would you call that like a flood coat?
Yes, exactly.
And you're just slopping it on, you're not being...
Yeah, and I'm kind of sloppy, but you do want to put it on very liberally.
Okay.
I'm going to let it soak in for a little bit.
Okay.
I don't believe it says it on the can, but you do want to wipe off the excess.
Okay.
So that when it dries, you don't have too much of a coating on the surface.
Okay, you want it to soak into the wood grain, but not really be on the surface of the wood.
Yeah, you don't want to let it dry as a film coat over the surface because then you won't be able to stain it.
Gotcha.
So this, I'll have to let dry for 12 to 24 hours.
12 to 24 hours?
Today on a hot summer day like today, 12 hours should be sufficient, but generally it's best to put it on one day and come back the next day to stain.
And if you didn't wait, then what happens?
If you didn't wait, then when you stain, it's not going to make a difference. It's going to blotch because the benite's wet, the stain will mix with the benite and still blotch.
Okay.
Now I have prepared a piece of wood here with benite.
Okay.
This is a piece without.
Okay.
Same kind of wood. Our Daly's Teak 44 stain on top of it.
That's one of our more popular colors.
Yes. In a similar way.
So you sort of flood the stain on as well.
The stain on. Now I'll do this board, which has not been benited.
Okay.
So we can see the difference.
All right. Oh, I can see it looks blotchier already, even though you're just putting the stain on.
Even though I'm just getting it on now.
Yeah.
Yes.
How long do you let stain sit?
I could wipe this off right now, or I could let it sit on for about 15 minutes or so. After that, it doesn't make a whole lot of difference if it's 15 minutes or 20. But you don't want to let it dry on so much.
Okay.
Because then if you do put a finish coat on, the finish coat will be sticking to the stain on the surface and not to the wood itself.
Okay.
Which is very important.
Okay.
So.
And again, you're going with the grain of the wood.
As I wipe, yes. I'm wiping off the excess stain. I want it to be lighter, so I want it to
be
that. Here's the piece without the benite.
So that's one of our regulars.
Okay. Wow. Look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you're doing a large piece of furniture or cabinets or anything that has some scale to it, it would really show up.
Now this did stain well. Sometimes you might need to open it up a little bit with 220. See,
now what do you mean open it up?
Well, if you have the benite on and it's sealed up real tight, this wood's pretty soft, so it didn't seal up really tight. But, you know, a harder wood like mahogany might seal up a bit tighter.
Okay.
So you want to take some 220 sandpaper after it's dry and just really lightly sand it.
And how would you make that decision whether to open it up or to let it be the way it is?
Well, you'd want to test.
You'd want to test, and you just do a little...
It's always good to test before you do something, kind of have a standard you're trying to go by.
Yeah. So let's see what happens now that you sanded it, and see if there's much of a difference with this soft wood.
It might be a little darker. And it's best to use lint-free cotton rags, unlike this. And it opened it up a little bit, so you can see a little bit of a difference. It's hard to see probably on the video camera.
Okay, do that one more time. No, I can see that.
Yeah.
So working with wood is, there's a bit of an art to it as well as science.
Yeah,
It works.
definitely.
All right. Hey, thanks, Mike. I appreciate the lesson in benite.